Coming up this morning, parts of Tennessee experienced deadly flooding Wednesday night. And all the flooding here in Kentucky caused so much trouble that a state of emergency was issued in Harlan County. And a visitation was held for an Ohio officer killed in the line of duty.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 6 o'clock on Friday, February the 8th. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News This Morning. Well, you got some look at late spring, early summer for some of you the past 2 days, but you winter lovers like me, we're right back at it this morning. Some areas might be seeing on the radar, we'll bring Brandon in, that there is snow, but it's really not falling because we've just been too warm the past couple of days for it really to make any impact on school this morning or people heading to work. Right, Brandon?
Exactly. And here's the thing. If you are seeing a little bit of snow, temperatures are not indicating that, but if you are seeing a little bit, it's not going to stick to anything because even the cars are warm this morning because we just came off of a 70-degree day. So let's take a look at the camera network starting at WYMT this morning, and things are fairly quiet here in Hazard as you head out the door. All the rain is past us, and you can see that here on the satellite and radar. All the moisture basically moving completely out of the state. We're just seeing, I guess, some returns there on live pinpoint Doppler radar, but most of it's gone for the most part as the cold front exits the area. The cold air left behind, though. 73 yesterday, right now 32 in Somerset, 43 in Hazard, 38 in Pikeville. So a little extra on the coffee meter this morning. Temperatures will continue to drop for a little while before they stabilize later today in the mid-30s. The rest of the forecast on the way here in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, there was deadly flooding in central Tennessee Wednesday night. Officials confirm one person died near Nashville. That person died in Cheatham County, just outside the city. Heavy downpours caused messy conditions and flooding on the roads during rush hour. Rescue officials reported multiple water rescues in the area. Elsewhere, fire crews had to be rescued from floodwaters after leaving a house fire. According to dispatchers, about 10 firefighters were trapped. We are told they are doing just fine. Back here at home, a state of emergency was declared in Harlan County yesterday for what Brandon and I believe was the second February in a row. County officials cite a major mudslide along Kentucky 72 as the main reason. The slide impacts roughly 300 people living in the area. The heavy rain also brought along high winds that tore down trees in the area, causing power problems for those living near the Little Creek area of Harlan County, who also live near the mudslide.
It appears that because they cut a road up on the mountain for the owners of the property here, that evidently it's weakened the mountain structure and caused a mudslide.
We are told by people living in the area that power to their homes has been restored. Well, flash flooding caused a number of roads in southern Kentucky yesterday morning. Police in Laurel County say the road department rushed to put out barriers when an early morning storm dumped a lot of rain in a short amount of time. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to people who say it does not take much water to create dangerous driving conditions.
I bought this place in 2001.
Calvin McQueen is thankful for a new culvert on Old Way Road.
I've seen it 3 or 4 times since I've been here, you know.
A handful of flash floods. Water receding nearly as quickly as it rose, disappearing by the time we arrived.
It gets high right there where it comes through, and another place right down there.
In fact, all over Laurel County, police had to close roads because it became unsafe to drive on them, or so it would seem.
Yeah, most of them will ease right through that, you know, which they shouldn't, but they do.
And it's a little more dangerous when it's dark because sometimes you can be right on top of the water and not even realize that it's there until you're on top of it. So
Thursday's thunderstorm broke out around 5 a.m. and soon at least 3 roads, including Old Way, looked more like rivers than roads.
Well, it's gushing out of holler there, you know, it probably looked like about 7 or 8 inches at least, you know, or higher, yeah.
Police say that's well enough water to create dangerous driving.
however, they say as little as 2 inches, and especially if 5 or 6 inches is rushing over the roadway, it can actually sweep your vehicle off the roadway.
All the more reason to turn around, don't drown. In Laurel County,
25 minutes, I mean, it poured, man. I mean, it was rough.
Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, police say within several hours, all the roadways were open as the water receded as quickly as it rose. Now, last year on the 4th of July, Johnson County was hit with an unexpected microburst that damaged parts of downtown and one local church. The steeple that sat on top of First Baptist Church of Paintsville was ripped off by the high winds. Luckily, that was the only damage to the building. On Tuesday, crews from Campbellsville brought a new steeple to put back on the roof. Pastor Seth Carter says this has been an opportunity to brag on God because of the storm, and the way the steeple could have been a lot worse, but he is glad to have this part of the church back.
Things have still been the same without the steeple. We've been able to worship and go right on, but to have the steeple, it's like a beacon of hope in our community. There's been so many comments from people outside of our church family who just said, "I'm so happy that you guys have the steeple back. It just means so much."
Carter also said the same company that built the old steeple 50 years ago built the new one too. Well, the follow-up to a lead in a missing persons case left crews with few answers. Members of the London Laurel Rescue Squad were in Loyal. That's in Harlan County. Investigators say they were helping search a creek that they would not tell us who they were looking for. Well, a Clay County man is dead after being hit by a pickup truck while riding his bike along US 421 in the Burning Springs community. Now, Kentucky State Police want to share tips on staying safe along the roadways, as this was just one of several deaths involving pedestrians and cyclists in the last week. WYMT's Taylor Upchurch has more.
Bike riding is common along US 421, but riders say it is best to stay clear of the road after dark.
I wouldn't, not at nighttime, not the way people drive up and down this road.
Kentucky State Police say Randall Eversole was riding his bike when a pickup truck hit him, which comes as no surprise to those living nearby.
They fly and they have no respect for nobody else. You get past, and they pass a mailman, not paying attention.
Trooper Lloyd Cochran says the driver of the truck, Crystal Lunsford, was cited for driving her vehicle with a suspended license and later given a sobriety test.
She was deemed to be not under the influence. However, this case will be presented to the Clay County Grand Jury.
He says several people walking and riding after dark have died for the same reason.
Well, this is the third or fourth fatality we've had involving pedestrians or cyclists in eastern Kentucky this week alone.
Because of recent deaths, neighbors and family ask drivers to pay closer attention.
Slow down, pay attention to your surroundings. It hurts. It's just people's negligence, it's not paying attention to what you're doing, and next thing you know, somebody else is hurt.
To save more lives from being lost along roadways, police want to share a few tips.
Have some type of reflective light or lights on your bicycle or on your clothing so motorists can see you.
And always call 911 before attempting basic first aid. In Clay County, Taylor Upchurch, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, Eversole was taken to the Manchester Advent Health Hospital for treatment before he died. Members of law enforcement across eastern Kentucky know there's no such thing as a routine shift. In Letcher County yesterday, the sheriff's office started off their afternoon attempting to serve a child support warrant. When it ended, 3 people were behind bars. WYMT's Justin Case went to Letcher County to learn more about the drug bust that led officials to meth, pills, and thousands of dollars in cash.
Pulling up at a home in the Cremona community, Sheriff Mickey Stein saw someone he recognized run into the house.
She said, "Who are you talking about?" I said, "I seen Victor Brock run in. I know he's got warrants." She said, "You can come in and search."
Sheriff Stein says Victor Brock jumped out a window and ran away. Stein still had to search for Sammy Adkins, who also had outstanding child support warrants.
You could see paraphernalia laying everywhere, needles, drugs. There was meth, a bag of meth laying on the bed.
18 grams of meth, pills, needles, and $3,000 in cash, and it wasn't long before officials found the man they were looking for.
I found people in dryers, underneath sinks, bathroom sinks. They're everywhere. You can hide anywhere. Like Sammy, he was underneath a pile of clothes, and the sheriff saw his tattoo, and that's how he located him.
This money will be stored in an account until a judge can determine if it is drug money or not. If it is, the money could help the sheriff's office.
We can put it in our drug forfeiture accounts, which we can use that monies to buy equipment, uniforms.
Sheriff Steins took office about a month ago. He and his deputy have already put 47 people behind bars in that time.
117 warrants served in 30 days. We've served 122 civil papers.
a trend he'd like to continue.
If you live in Letcher County and you're selling meth, we're going to be after you. It's pretty simple.
Fighting the drug epidemic one arrest at a time.
Now, officials also arrested Jeremy Ritchie on outstanding warrants. They say he was hiding in the bathroom. The woman who answered the door, Ruth Adkins, is also behind bars. All three arrested face multiple drug charges. Now, the man who escaped out the window, Victor Brock, is still on the run. A public visitation was held Thursday for an Ohio officer killed in the line of duty. Detective Bill Brewer, a 20-year veteran of the Clermont County Sheriff's Office, was fatally wounded Saturday in a 12-hour standoff. A lieutenant who was also shot was treated and released from a Cincinnati hospital. The state is seeking the death penalty against the accused gunman who appeared in court earlier this week. Brewer leaves behind a wife of 13 years and a 5-year-old son. Brewer's funeral is set for later today.
Well, the forecast as we head out the door this morning, not too bad. Let's go over to the camera network and see what's going on top of Whitesburg Mountain there, US 119, Pine Mountain. We're looking at some wet roads, but otherwise no visibility issues, nothing else going on. So that's some good news UVA-wise. Pretty quiet over there this morning as well, so we're going to continue to see that trend. We go over to satellite and radar. All this is starting to move out as we head through the early morning hours, and we expected that to be the case. Maybe even some clearing back into parts of central Kentucky. So we're going to continue to watch this trend today. Another trend we're going to watch, Will, is the temperatures. They're going to be going down for a little while before stabilizing a little bit later on this afternoon.
All righty, I'm cool with that. Thanks for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. It includes a Miss Teen Kentucky visits local schools to talk to kids about the struggles they may face and how to overcome them. And it was a night of nostalgia at Johnson Central's basketball game last night.